Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. So, hi, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome to Ladies Night. We have a kind of a different kind of beginning, but I think it'll be fun. We have Renee here from Tarot Love Community and .net, and she's going to give us some the lowdown on what is happening over on Tarot Love Community, some new fun changes. I think she has a giveaway. I think she's here to do some kind of just some housekeeping, as they say. Tell us a little bit
But
what's
just
going
make
on.
sure everybody knows we're out there, knows what we're up to, and what new things that we've instituted. And the changes just happen to coincide with Jeff Bailey. He is in the process, and you'll see him in the chats as Poetic Justice Jeff Bailey. But he is finishing up, getting ready to publish his second book of poems, I guess. They're little like prose poetry, kind of like observational humor type stuff as well. So it's totally right up my alley. It's a fantastic book of writings and musings, as he calls them. So it just happened to work out that he contacted me just as I was starting to make arrangements to come visit throughout the community, and said, I'd really like to give away some of my first book. Can you help me? I was like, as a matter of fact.
And
So before I
that's
duck out, and
great.
I appreciate y'all letting me sneak in on Ladies Night. I know that's
Sure.
unusual to have a guest in here, so I feel very
Yeah.
privileged and honored to be here. But so before I duck out, we'll give away a couple of copies of Jeff's book, and once I get the full list together, I'll turn it over to Jeff, and he'll make the necessary arrangements to get them all sent out. So that is the deal. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah. So the big new stuff. Again, I just want to kind of make sure that everybody knows we're here, knows what we're about. Oh, is that arrow still hanging out with you?
This is Bo now.
Bo's turn. Hi, Bo. I have a sleeping one right over on the other side of the computer here. So probably two of them, honestly. um, but yeah, we've been doing some updates on the site, and just want to make sure people know we're there, that how to find us, and all that sort of thing. So it's tarotlovecommunity.net. And it's kind of our virtual spiritual community center. I've got on there, of course, our registered members, and we're up to about 100 registered members. Of course, Andrea and Kim and Debbie are all registered members, so you can go look up their information, and all their links are there to their websites, email addresses, YouTube channels. Whatever you have that you've provided in the registration form is shared there, including a little biography and the types of readings and everything that y'all offer. So all that is there and available in an easy to find search format. You can go in and it's all alphabetical. And it's not just for the readers either. You know, you don't have to be a tarot reader. If you do, we've got three different sections. We have our readers and our teachers, our healers and our energy workers, and our creators and shopkeepers. So whatever it is that you do, if you're a part of the community and you would like to share that and put that out there, so that other members of the community can find you, or your Etsy shop, or your website, or your whatever it is that you do, then let me know. You know, we're here for that. And it's just a means and a way of connecting with the community outside of the limits of what YouTube allows for us. For instance, if you want to chat with your friends, you know, a lot of times you have to have a live program going on somewhere. Whereas if if you go to the members page and look up all the folks who are site members, and a site member just means that you signed up for a login on the website. And that allows you access not only to interact with other members, but also with our bulletin board. And the bulletin board is like our forum. And I call it that because when I grew up, if you wanted to know anything, you went to the grocery store and looked at the bulletin board, right? That's how you found out what was going on. So that's where the idea came from. And there's a whole slew of categories on there for conversation starters, or for specific information, or to connect over specific topics, many of which were suggested by community members. And so that's there and available. And if you go to the contacts page and say you want to talk to Andrea, you can look up her on the member page, and it'll there's an option for not only can you follow that person, so that you get, depending on how you set up your notifications and everything, that you'll get notifications whenever they post something, or there's an option you'll see like the little talk bubble in the on each person's little icon section, and you can click that, and it'll allow you to directly talk to that person. So you can set up like a direct message, kind of like a WhatsApp or something like that, or you can even do it as a little group chats. So you have those options. And if you're fancy enough and want to be brave and venture out, there is an app that you can use as well. It's called Spaces by Wix. So SPACES by Wix, WIX. That's who hosts our webpage, our website. So that's an app you can download either in your Android store or in your Apple store, or whoever store that you use. And it's basically kind of like a WhatsApp, where you have access to the bulletin board and to the chat features that run through the website. And so that's an option available. It honestly I didn't even remember it until about a month ago. And I was watching something, and there were two people in the chat trying to figure out how to connect to one another. And it was oh, I don't do Facebook. Oh, I don't do Twitter. It's kind of like that. I was like, y'all can go to the Tarot Love community and talk to one another, and that, like I said, that way you're out. You're not necessarily, you're not bound by having to have a live show going on, and you're also not bound by having to be as careful in what you be a little more animated in your opinions than necessarily can. But not to say we are not grateful for our YouTube and the platform that it offers us, but there are some limitations involved, and this is a means of hopefully allowing allowing a greater ability for people to find and connect to one another, and reach out and communicate back and forth. So and the big new thing that we've got going on is we have added I forgot about Andrea's page. Andrea has her very own web page on there, because she's of course my founding partner for the website. So if you want to know anything about Andrea, she's got her own page on there with all her links and everything that you want to know. So you can reach out to her that way. And then the new thing is our paid membership that I've added to the website. And I decided to do it through the website versus YouTube, because I feel like it offers me a larger variety of things that I can include as exclusive content. So the very first thing that I've added in there is from our Learning Lunation series that, again, Andrea's been a part of for this entire year. And so I've done infographics, is what I'm calling them. I've taken everything that we've learned from about the new moons and the full moons and the crystals and the moon water and all the stuff that the eclipses, all the stuff that we've learned over this year so far, and turned it into little cheat sheets, if you will, that you can go in, and you'll have as a Backstage Pass member, you'll have exclusive access to those infographics that you can download and use however you want to. And of course, we'll be adding additional content down the road. I've got plans for a blog. once Andrea and this one's totally my fault. This one's not Andrea's fault. I'm behind on getting the notes put together so we can get our Connect the Dots series really up and running. But once we do that, I've also got conspiracy board, if you will, murder board, where or as our office nerds like me call them, a flow chart. We actually have a visual board up where you can see how we're connecting the dots between the people that we're looking at and the events that we're looking at. So I'll be excited to see that come together as well. And I know that memberships is a crowded space out there, a lot of competition and that sort of thing. So I did make sure that we had different donation levels available for a monthly donation. So you can sign up for either $2.22, $5.55, or $9.99 per month. And if you got to cancel, you got to cancel. There's no rules. There's no 30-day notice or anything like that. I totally get it. But everybody who has participated so far, please, I'm so grateful. I'm so excited to have that support and that encouragement, and that generosity from those folks, and certainly hope that we can expand just the community, continue to expand the community center in general.
Great. That's so great. Yes, it's really such a nice format to bring everybody together and all these communities together, and give people a place to go when they want to chit chat or see new things or find new things or watch your shows. And so, well, great. Well, thank you, Renee, for getting us all caught up. And for those who are just joining us, Renee's here from TarotLoveCommunity.net, just giving us kind of an update, what's going on over there, what you guys can go look at, what you can see, all the new stuff, the new membership. And so please go check that out.
Yeah. And we've got our YouTube channel as well. So anybody wants to go over there and share the subscriber love over there, we'd certainly appreciate it. We're right around the 1,500, so we're slowly working our way up to the 2,000 mark, and we're about 550 site members for the website, and right at 100 registered members. So,
that's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, and it's everybody who's on there and is has a registered member is people that Andrea and I are willing, happy to vouch for. We've vetted everyone. It's people who are known to us in some form or fashion. So there, it's important to me that everybody knows that it's people that I trust. And so I'm not going to send y'all out on a wild goose chase after someone that I wouldn't recommend to just anybody. So all that's out there, and anything in, I'm available if anybody has questions. I'll be still popping around the community a little bit more, because I've still got about 10 or 12 more copies of the book to give away. So Wednesday I'll be on with Scott Allen, and we'll be doing a little bit more of a tour that, like I've done on Debbie's channel. I did a little bit of a tour there. Sophie, sorry, I've just moved into my office, and Sophie has discovered the door jam thing.
Yes.
So so every now and again she comes in and does that.
Well, shout out to Renee for bringing a community together. That's a dream project of hers that she came up with, and I think it's just wonderful, and she's doing it out of all the love in her heart. So big shout out to Renee.
Well, that, and I'm pretty sure the universe kind of meant for me to be doing this. Because it's very much those sort of, that's what led me to Andrea in the first place, is I kept getting these signs and messages, and finally I was like, okay, fine, I will go talk to the purple woman in Canada. And so I reached out, and it was she was very, right off the bat, just
Yeah, that sounds great.
So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what you just got yourself into, but we're going to go. So I appreciate Andrea for being the first one to say yes and
Nice.
and really get this kick started in making it something that has become a tangible thing for us.
Right.
So yeah, so let me, before I bounce out of here, oh, and I did want to say too, well, I'll do this so everybody can get, all right, everybody get your typing fingers ready, okay? All right, y'all ready? I'm going to take the first 3 people who type Jeff Bailey in the chat. And while y'all are doing that, if you are able to contribute and donate, I would certainly appreciate it. Like you said, this is a labor of love, and it's kind of my only labor at the moment. So I am excellent. I see, do y'all see too? Faye Cole, L. Lynch, and Cat Mama.
And Cat Mama Meow. Yep.
Okay, excellent.
We got it.
Write them down. What I need for y'all to do, please and thank you. Faye Cole, L. Lynch, and Claudia. And a special thank you to Claudia. She is the one who very generously gifted me my desk that I'm at now. So.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. Also, Claudia, good news. I found a chair. That, so.
A chair is very important.
Yes, because right now I've bummed one of the dining room chairs, and it's not, it does good for a while. But after a while, we kind of back. We're like, okay, we got to do something.
Congrats to Faye Cole, L. Lynch, and Cat
Claudia. Cat Mama Claudia.
So they're supposed to, those 3 should email you?
Yes, email me at tarotlovecommunity@gmail with your name and the name and the address where you would like the book sent, please and thank you.
Nice.
Tony, that was one of the things that I ended up watching that movie because I kept having it pop in my head. Tony's talking about Field of Dreams. Mm-hmm. When this whole idea started coming to me, that movie kept popping in my head until I finally had to sit down and watch it again. So yeah, it very much is a build it and they will come scenario. Nice. And if anybody is able to contribute, if you look at the bottom of the web page, every page has that little rules and regulations and terms and conditions and all that. I've also got all the links for my PayPal and Amazon gratitude list and our merch shop. Of course, we got our merch out there. You can get hats and mugs and t-shirts and socks and whatever. I've got a whole bunch of stuff out there. But any way y'all can help and contribute and donate to help keep the lights on, quite literally, I would be ever so appreciative. A little nervous about making it through the week with all the power and everything, but
yeah.
as much as the universe, I say it all the time, but the universe likes to play chicken more than I'm comfortable with. But it hasn't let me down yet. So
universe provides.
That's right. And again, thank y'all for letting me butt in. I know that's an unusual thing for this evening. Oh, and before I leave, can I just throw out there, if Ingrid Bergman ever consents to talk to y'all, I would totally love to hear what she has to say.
Okay. Ingrid Bergman.
I think she's one of the most fascinating from that golden era.
Great suggestion.
Yeah.
Great suggestion.
I mean, she got caught up in all that McCarthyism, blackballing stuff with the communists. And it's fascinating woman.
Well, she's officially on the list now, so.
Well, and her daughters are interesting too. She has two daughters, Isabella Rossellini, who of course is an actress, and then the other one's a professor of some sort, if I remember correctly. But fascinating family.
Awesome.
Well, thanks to Jeff Bailey for donating his book.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate Jeff. So again, that's tarotlovecommunity@gmail. If you'll make sure to get me your the name and the address where you want your book sent. And once I get all that compiled, we'll get it to Jeff and he will get them distributed accordingly.
Great. Thank you, Renee. And thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations on such a successful community. It's really wonderful.
Well, it's that way thanks to in part to you guys and the chat folks and the folks who have supplied love and encouragement and support in whether energetically or financially or whatever way. So I feel blessed and humbled with how it's gone, and I feel really good about what's going to be coming up. Not only through the rest of this year, but next year as well.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Renee. We'll see you again
Bye.
soon. Bye.
See y'all in the chat.
I know. I'm going to pop you out and pop Debbie in. All right. Thanks, Renee. All right. And where's Debbie? Now I lost Debbie. Where is she? Where did she go?
Debbie, where are you?
There she is.
I'm right here.
Hello, and thank you everybody for letting Renee pop in and do that. I guess you had no choice. I guess I did it. But thank you for being here, and thank you for being so kind and listening to her and talk about the community. And please go over there and give some love over to the tarotlovecommunity.net. Awesome, and their YouTube channel. So.
And it really is. You guys check the website out. It's really,
really great. So thank you, everybody. So here we are again. We're going to be talking about and talking to 3 more amazing women. I can't wait. I peeked at all of them, and I'm really excited. Well, definitely mine, but I really, we've got some really cool ladies coming in. So yeah. So are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
And is it Thanksgiving for you, Andrea?
It is. It's Thanksgiving Day today in Canada. So
my goodness.
Shout out to everybody in Canada this holiday day, and especially to our First Nations people here. And thank you. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. And that I give thanks to them, and I wish forward in the fall year to come that more and more things can be done to better the relations and their lifestyle, whatever they need to be happy. Because I'm not one to say what they need to be happy.
Right.
You know, whatever they need, I wish that.
You wish that for them. Well, nice. Well, happy Thanksgiving. And are you ready to get into this, ladies? Where do we begin? Okay. And I think that actually I'm first.
Oh,
right? Okay. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay. So my little lady is Hilma of Klint.
Oh, interesting.
This is a suggestion from a viewer, from Marianne, who I actually had a mentoring session with her, and she asked me then if I could go back and look at her, and I was absolutely fascinated. So here she is. She's amazing artist, as you can see. But she has some other very interesting things about her as well. So Hilma of Klint she was born in October 26, 1862. And she passed away October 21st, 1944. She was a Swedish artist and a mystic. Her paintings are considered among the first abstract works known in Western art history. She has a huge body of work, and she predates the purely abstract compositions of Kandinsky, Kalevich, and Mondorian. She belonged to a group called the Five, comprising a circle of women inspired by Theosophy, who shared a belief in the importance of trying to contact the so-called high masters, often by way of seances. Her paintings, which sometimes resembled diagrams, were a visual representation of complex spiritual ideas. So Hilma of Klint, at the beginning, she was the fourth child of Matilda of Klint and Captain Victor of Klint, a Swedish naval commander. And she spent summers with her family at the manor Hamora on the island of Adelso and Lake Mälaren. In these idyllic surroundings, she came in contact with nature and absolutely loved nature and started to draw and paint it. She had a very deep association with nature, and it was an inspiration for her work. Later in life, she lived permanently on Munso, an island next to Adelso. From her family, Hilma of Klint inherited a great interest for mathematics and botany. Sorry, I couldn't read my own writing. She showed an early ability in visual art, and after the family moved to Stockholm, she studied at the Tekniska skolan in Stockholm, where she learned how to do portraits and landscape paintings. During the years between 1882 and 1887, she studied mainly drawing, portrait painting, and landscape painting. And she graduated with honors from what was allocated a scholarship in the form of a studio. In 1880, her younger sister, Hermina, died. And just like so many stories we hear about people who are readers and that kind of thing, a death kind of kicked this off for her, this interest in the spiritual community. And it was that time that her spiritual dimension of her life began. And she began to develop her interest in, her interest in abstraction and symbolism came from Hilma of Klint's involvement in spiritualism. So the work of Hilma of Klint are mainly spiritual, and her artistic work is a consequence of this. So all of her amazing work came from her spiritual work. She felt that the abstract work and the meaning within it were so groundbreaking. Okay, this is the amazing part. She felt that what she got from the spirit world to put on canvas was so groundbreaking that the world was not ready to see it. And she wished that for her work to remain unseen for 20 years after her death.
Wow.
Can you imagine that kind of artistic integrity now? I mean, she wanted, so that means she did not want any accolades, no fame, no money from it. She just wanted to preserve it and make sure the world was ready when the world was ready to see it. At the Academy of Fine Arts, she met Anna Cassia, the first of the four women with whom she later worked, and they were the five that we talked about earlier, a group of artists who shared her ideas. So they worked together spiritually and artistically. The other members were Cornelia Codenberg, Sigrid Hedman, and Matilda Nilsson. Hilma at Klint died in Djursholm, Sweden, in 1944, nearly 82 years old, in the aftermath of a traffic accident. In her will, Hilma at Klint left all her abstract paintings to her nephew, Vice Admiral Erik at Klint of the Royal Swedish Navy. She specified that her work should be kept secret for at least 20 years after her death. And when they opened the boxes at the end of the 1960s, very few people had knowledge of what would be revealed. The collection of abstract paintings of Hilma at Klint includes more than 1,200 pieces. It is owned and managed by the Hilma at Klint Foundation in Stockholm, Sweden. Wow. What an amazing woman. And it's so interesting because that one with the that one right next to her picture, right next to her big picture, with that one with the pyramid and the sun, and that seems to kind of be my favorite. It's the one I'm drawn to. But she did a lot with that pyramid and triangles, and it reminded me actually a lot of Dave Johnson, because so much of his the things that he does for like his opening exercises and the things he does, the imagery he uses is a lot with pyramids and that kind of thing. But what do you guys think of this amazing woman?
I was really excited about this when I read about her briefly before we came on here. Her art is amazing. And again, that pyramid one and the different colors, that's almost like all the chakra colors.
Yes.
Like I really feel she was connected. She was really drawing in or seeing something, you know, on a higher plane.
Oh, yes.
And she knew it too, which is awesome.
Yes, exactly. And the way she, it just blew me away that she had the, I don't know what else you call it. I guess integrity of that kind of artistic integrity that you don't see that much anymore, where she really wanted to have this unfold at the right time. And she was willing to give up any kind of personal glory, you know, that she would experience in her lifetime to make sure that her work was revealed at exactly the right moment, that she felt was the right moment to reveal it according to her spiritual connections, you know? Yeah, just amazing. Oh, sorry, Roxanne, the reason she wanted to keep them secret and for 20 years after her death, because she felt like the world wasn't ready to see them. She felt like they were kind of, it was modern art, which it wasn't really around at the time that she was doing this. This is the early 1900s. And you just don't
that doesn't look like something from the early 1900s.
Oh my gosh, no.
That's
it does not at all.
No.
No, it was still very much, you know, a lot of, like, she was studying kind of landscapes and portraits and pictures and, you know, what was kind of in their world around them still. Not this kind of stuff. Very, very ahead of its time. And yeah, Sandy Miller says the 60s was perfect timing. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
For sure.
Frustration. So she was, you know, she was different. She knew it. So there can be frustration with that, you know, like I don't want to say tortured artist, but, you know, just difficult because she was, you know, square peg trying to get in a round hole. She didn't fit for the time.
Perfect.
There would have been some frustration with that. And she didn't want to expose her work and have people go, this is ridiculous. What is this? I think she wanted it to be found by an audience that would be open-minded. And she was ahead of her own time.
Now, I didn't hear if you said this, but I feel like she's showing me she's talking about channeling. Did she channel?
Well, they didn't specify that. They just said that they would, she was kind of in that spiritualist community and a lot of seances and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if,
she's
it had something to do with channeling.
There's someone, so I feel like she understood that process, but she had a specific person or entity, or however you want to say it, energy that she channeled. There's a name. She had a name for this person or entity or whatever. I can't capture the name. However, all that to say is I feel like she was ahead of her time in that as well, because she has a name for this guide that she channeled, and she's trying to show that all these details about channeling, and I also feel like she's also showing me that yes, I knew I had lots of guides, but there was one that I channeled.
Okay.
But she didn't say anything like that.
Not that I saw. I know that she talked about talking to kind of the higher masters, that kind of thing. So
okay.
it would not surprise me that there was, that they were specific names and guides, or that they were channeling specific to them, these 5 women.
She was trying to teach people to channel as well. She's trying to explain to people, go ahead and you can do this too. It's not just individuals that are special. You can do it. You can do it. She's saying to channel.
If they connected, they could probably
connect, talk, open. You can channel too. She feels this would help with the awakening and advancement. I'm getting the word advancement, but if people were more open to channeling.
Right.
Oh, you said she went to a spiritualist church. I wonder if that was just part of their belief system. But anyways, she's saying she's sharing that. She's saying, everybody get out there, start channeling.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. I think that because I'm feeling like too that she wants, kind of along the lines with what you're saying, Debbie, that it is it's not kind of how it seemed at the time, kind of a secret society. It's open to all.
Right.
It's not, it's not this, specific, this, that they were special somehow. No, they were just curious and open. And that is what kind of can lead you to, I feel like she's like, to great things or great works or great, discoveries, that kind of thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I also feel like, so I feel like she's saying something about her sister. So maybe she was one of the people that she would talk to on the other side or something like that. Or where I know that the death of her sister kind of started this, but I feel like she did have contact with her, and she was kind of I want to say almost like a go-between or something, or like something kind of introducing her around the spirit world, kind of getting her oriented in the spirit world, understanding it a little bit through her sister.
Search. So she was searching, and maybe her sister was helping her.
Yeah.
Navigate.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
That's Marianne. That's this is her lady, and Marianne's the artist.
Marianne.
So yeah, this is right up her
choice.
She's showing me herself, like she's showing the scene. She's showing herself in her room, and her sister literally materializing in there. So I feel like she actually see her sister. So
wow. Okay.
And that's kind of what spurred her. I think her sister literally showed herself to her. And that's kind of what spurred that open.
Right.
God, yes, with the pendulum when you said it. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, because I was getting the chills.
Ooh. I asked if she's come back yet. I got a no.
She's busy.
Yeah.
She's busy.
I think it's far more interesting for her over there than it is here.
I get that same feeling, actually, Andrew. I think that's right. And I think it has to do with how we can create there versus here. It's such a slow process here. It takes time, and it unfolds. And it's just to me, it feels like it's so much quicker over there, that it's just like, yeah, it's a completely different experience creating over there. But that's what she likes, that's her whole thing. So
I still can't believe she was painting like that at that time frame. That's
Isn't that weird? I know it is otherworldly. It is otherworldly. It's totally inspired.
And way ahead of herself. way ahead of the times.
Absolutely. It was inspired work.
Especially if you've never seen that before.
Yeah,
No one's
can you
ever
imagine?
modeled that for you. And you sit down and start painting these. I mean, that is absolutely otherworldly. Mm-hmm.
And if you guys haven't, if you're not familiar with her, it seems like there are a lot of people that are, but if you're not, look her up and look at her work. It's astonishing. It really is, to think of the time period she was in and what she was doing with these other ladies. It's amazing.
And each piece, just of the ones that I saw, it's like jarring or magnetic, or it's so captivating, each piece of her work. She really very talented, but where was she seeing this stuff? How was she seeing the pyramids looking like that, or that circle within a half circle or whatever? Like, that was not common art at the time. So it's not like she had a mentor she was following.
Right.
No.
Right.
Or looking through magazines and seeing art like this. It just wasn't happening. Ooh, I got goosebumps. She's really awesome. She's very.
She is.
She's the epitome of the word artist.
I would have loved to hang out with her.
Yeah. She really, really is.
She's like, you are hanging out with me.
Yeah. But we are.
Yeah, but we are.
And you can imagine what she must have felt like at the time, painting these things and knowing that no one should see them. What a right. And she gave up any fame or fortune for it. That wasn't the point. She was painting something, communicating something, and that was far more important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even if it had to be sealed for 20 years. I mean, really, that's so...
Like a bunch of portals.
Yeah.
Right. She introduced a bunch of portals 20 years later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I just heard that.
And to be able and to know, or to get the advice, to know that, this wouldn't be appreciated in the way it should be until 20 years after her death. That it just wasn't ready to be. We're not ready for it. You were not ready for it.
I mean, I'm sure she must have had her guide tell her that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, what an impact it made. Oh, I'm so glad that her nephew, was it her nephew that got her art?
Yes, her nephew
respected and took care of it until it was revealed or whatever. He didn't, just throw it away or.
Right. Or reveal it for that. He respected that, because, when he started to see modern art, I'm sure it was very tempting to want to open that box but he really respected her wishes, and so she definitely and maybe even that was inspired who to leave it to, because he definitely respected her wishes.
100%. She chose him for a reason. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Well, what an amazing lady. Thank you, Hilma of Klint.
Yes, Hilma of Klint.
I'd never heard of her before, and I was so
neither
excited.
had I.
I'm looking forward to viewing her art.
Yeah, I want to look more at her art. Just amazing.
Thank you, Hilma.
Absolutely. Yeah, amazing.
She's blessing everyone. She's blessing everyone.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, amazing. Okay, I think that you guys can let me know for sure, but I think, Andrea, are you next?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Mine starts with a J.
Okay, so Andrea, you're next. All righty, so let me remember.
Oh, I think, no, alphabetical wise, I think it's
me.
It's Debbie, but I mean, whatever.
Okay, all right. So here is Debbie.
There she is. Oh, yeah. All right. So as you can see, Jennifer Samantha Louise Lee, that was the name she was born with. She got married, now it's Worth. Or it was Worth. So let's learn about Jennifer. She was born in Clacton-on-Sea, Essex, September 25th, 1935. She was born to Gordon and Elsie Gibbs Lee. She was raised in Amersham, Buckinghamshire. She had a younger sister, Christine, and two younger paternal half-sisters. After leaving school at the age of 15, she learned shorthand and typing and became a secretary to the head of Dr. Colliner's grammar school. She then trained as a nurse at the Royal Berkshire Hospital, Reading, and moved to London, receiving training to become a midwife. Jenny, which she was called Jenny, was hired as a staff nurse at the London Hospital in Whitechapel in the 1950s with the Sisters of St. John the Divine and the Anglican community of nuns. She worked to aid the poor. She was then a ward sister at the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson Hospital in Bloomsbury. She left midwifery to work in palliative care at the Marie Curie Hospice in Hampstead. She married artist Philip Worth in 1963, and I think he also was a barrister, which is an attorney. And they had 2 daughters. Worth left nursing in 1973 to pursue her musical interest. In 1974, she was appointed a licentiate of the London College of Music, where she taught piano and singing. She obtained a fellowship in 1984. She performed as a soloist with choirs throughout the UK and Europe. Besides her career in nursing and her writing, Worth taught piano in the front room of her big family home, known as her house was called the White House, on the St. John's Road in Boxmoor, Hemel Hempstead. She held regular concerts for all her piano pupils as a target to work towards, where pupils would perform to a crowd of other pupils and their parents. An excruciating experience for some of the children performing, but giving rhythm and targets in her teaching of music. She also supported her pupils throughout the musical grades. She drank tea ferociously through each piano lesson and could always be heard singing her way from the kitchen to the grand front parlor with her tray of teapots and cups. A small dark rosewood, so I guess a small dark rosewood, so a grand piano, I can't even pronounce the grand piano's name, was used by herself, her daughters, and her pupils. Her piano lessons were classical and gave her pupils sound musical theory. Her pupils seemed very classical and somewhat formal, but she was a deeply talented woman who imparted the love for singing and music. Jenny Worth was also keen and accomplished gardener with green fingers, tending to the White House's sumptuous grounds and to the vegetable allotment in Clawdon allotments 400 meters from her home. Many years later, she began writing, and her first volume of memoirs called The Midwife was published in 2002. The book became a bestseller when it was reissued in 2007. Shadows of the Workhouse, which was written in 2005, was reissued in 2008. And The Farewell to the East End in 2009 became one of the bestsellers. The trilogy sold almost 1 million copies to the UK alone. And in 4th volume of memoirs, In the Midst of Life, published in 2010, Worth reflects on her later experiences caring for the terminally ill. She was an activist. Worth was highly critical of Mike Leigh's 2004 film Vera Drake for depicting the consequences of illegal abortions unrealistically. She argued that the method shown in the movie, far from being fairly quick and painless, was in fact almost invariably fatal for the women as a result of the harm done with such illegal procedures. She approved of the legalization of abortion in the UK, saying this was a medical, not a moral issue. Jenny died on May 31st, 2011, having been diagnosed with the cancer of the esophagus earlier in the year. Deeply religious, she had a commitment to God. The first episode of the Call to the Midwife, based on her experiences in the Poplar, London in the late 1950s, was dedicated to her. Aww. So that is Jenny. I'm sure there's a lot more out there on her, and I bet you a lot of people know way more than what I just read on her as well. But
and she, to me, she looks. I was going to say she looks angelic. She really does. She has an angelic look about her.
Those eyes tell us something.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like you found a picture of the real nuns that she worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. The reason I was kind of drawn to reading about her and hoping she comes in and talks to us is that she did have this belief system. She was very religious. However, she really had a beautiful understanding of, science and women and the needs and what was happening and at the time with women and so forth, and or what was not happening for women at the time. You know what I mean? So I just found that because of her beautiful her belief, as well as Luna, it's not time yet. She's like, you guys, are you done? Oh, she's looking in my spot. Is she over there?
Oh, kitty.
She's looking right where I look to talk to.
How cute.
Yeah.
She's talking about service, and even her she's saying even her like hobbies were linked to service. It was why she was here. Whether it was writing or whether it was gardening, it was, serving the earth, serving humanity, serving, everything was about service. And but she's also, it's interesting because I feel like too, she's kind of like, that kind of existence isn't right for everybody. We're all here for our own reasons. So it's kind of like, that's why that was my thing. Like, that's why I was here, to have this kind of life, a kind of a life of service and be around people who are, but that kind of, it was her part. It's why she was here. And so I feel like she's kind of like, instead of feeling like, oh, that should be my purpose too, she's kind of like, no, but embrace fully why you are here. Why are you, what is your thing? What are you doing? What is your thing that you're doing here? And do it with be dedicated to it. That even though you think, everybody should be of service, everybody, yes, in part, but she's saying to live a life like that, that's something that was her thing. And that, that isn't everybody's thing. So don't feel, I almost feel like she's like, don't feel bad if you don't do like what I those kind of things that I did through my life. Don't feel bad because whatever you're doing here, it's important. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here doing it. So whatever you're here for, it is important. Give it your all.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing card for her to get. Great
Oh.
teacher. Learn from spiritual experience. So
Mm.
following the path, most likely of Jesus or religion, right?
Right.
Learning from spirit. Very holy woman. And we could see that in her eyes. There was a very innocent and loving look in her eyes that I felt. So she did want to be of service to others. She did want to walk in that. She knew, I think early on too, that was it for her. She wanted to be, she was in the spiritual path already. I think pretty early on, she knew her calling. She's really nice. She's very
really
nice.
is. She's really nice, and she's in light of that too, Andrea. She's showing me the nuns. She's like they. I mean, talk about service.
Yeah.
And so she's like, and that was kind of an early example for her as well. That it brought so much. She learned so much from working alongside them and learning. I mean, they literally lived in their life in service. She's also, talk about mind blowing when she in her work. And the atrocities of the human condition, I guess, and to the poor. She's talking about the poor and women in general. And yeah, so I feel a real heaviness there. In regards to that. That was always kind of a heavy thing for her. And it makes sense to me that she did her first part of her life bringing life in, and then her second part of that journey was assisting life to cross over. Yes. It's actually very beautiful.
Yeah.
What
and that's her spirit. I mean, her spirit is beautiful. It really, really is.
Absolutely.
It feels light and airy and of something of beauty. Mm-hmm. And she also, just an aside, she also feels like was very, very smart, very articulate, very well spoken, and to me, almost I feel like if you met her, you would think that she was in England, I guess, like upper class. She had kind of an air about her that was almost like noble in a way. But it's that, I think that what you were talking about, Andrea, it's that holiness. It's she's on another plane,
Yes.
Yeah. And when she was here, she was that way. I think people knew they were talking and in the presence of someone very unique and special in that way.
She's showing me herself with a bunch of children, and oh gosh, this is hard, you guys. She shows me herself with a bunch of children on the other side, needlessly died on this plane. And so she tirelessly works, that's just quoting tirelessly because that's how we understand it, because I don't think you get tired, but working with us here now and there, but to make changes within the whole system of contraceptive and like that, and she's not targeting abortion here. She wants to make that clear. She's just targeting when she's showing me missed, like the care for women in general is not up to par, and it's still not, and that's what she's saying.
Right.
But I just want to be clear. Like there's still needless. You think we're in 2022 that we would be a little more advanced for women in giving in childbirth and like that, and then even healthcare for our children. We're not there yet.
Right.
But she said there was a lot of needless. Yeah, but she's with the kids up there, the babies and the kids.
You see, she's just perfect. She's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Aw.
But very heavy, a heavy emotion with this. So I'm not sure. It's still very heavy on her.
And it strikes me too that we're living in a time where we see a lot of children, as you're saying, needless deaths, but children dying in very violent ways, because we're seeing like school shootings and we're seeing stuff in Ukraine, and it does feel like they're telling us something that we don't really, that we're kind of living in a time where we need to value life. I'm not talking about abortion.
Right. No, she's not talking about that.
But and children in particular. It used to be that was the holy grail, right? Was everybody takes care of the children, everybody cares about the children, and it's so backwards right now. I could see her being very, very involved and concerned about that, exactly what you're talking about on every level, whether it's healthcare or whether it's just all of the violent things that are happening, particularly with children right now.
She's kind of saying that many are praying up there in regards to this whole scenario.
Right.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And we can link into that prayer anytime. So if this is on your prayer list, go ahead and link into that prayer. Just say, I'm linking into that prayer that's going for the children and for this whole scenario. Needless, whatever. Yeah.
Whoa. I think that, you said she's not tired, but I think it's the weight of it that it's still happening.
The weight.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, that's it.
Of course, she's going to be there to help, but she still can't believe that, here comes some more, and here comes some more that she has to help on the other side.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I had to take a picture.
I know.
A little Luna.
Luna, what do you think about everything?
Luna's like, wow. She's like, save the babies, save the children.
I don't feel like she's come back.
No.
I feel like she's just
She's standing on the front lines up there helping.
Exactly. Yeah, she's very, very involved, very involved. And but yeah,
it's almost like she the only reason I'm saying this, and I probably get feedback on this, but she keeps literally showing me Mother Mary. Now I know she wasn't a Catholic, but she's showing me Mother Mary, and I think it's symbolic or something. But that praying, aligned, it's all aligned. The mothers are aligned up there. These.
Right.
It's like they're all there, and she's aligned with even like Mother Mary,
Right.
like that type of energy. So, and it may just be symbolic. So no feedback on that. I don't want to get, but that's what she's showing me. I can only tell you what I'm being shown. So.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me think of the love of a mother.
Yeah.
That unconditional, perfect love that that mothers have and are able to bring to the earth. You know. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, I could just stand. I feel like I could just like be in her light because she feels like a being of light. She really does. Yeah.
I just feel overwhelmed by her service.
Yes.
You know, not only what she did here, but what she's doing now is extremely moving. You know, I don't want to start crying, but I can really feel it.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah,
what a perfect example of a human.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? How to be a good human.
Something to aspire to. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll aspire to. And yet she says, you know, whatever you're here to do it greatly.
Yeah.
Do it greatly.
Great. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thank you, Jennifer and Andrea.
All right.
Up.
So I brought in a little Canadian gem tonight.
Yay.
By the name of Lucy Maud Montgomery, also known as the author of Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, yay.
So she adamantly wanted to come in. I woke up the other morning and all I heard was Lucy Maud Montgomery. Boom. Okay. So she is, as I said, a Canadian author best known for a wide variety of work, but most specifically Anne of Green Gables. She was born November 30th, 1874. And she published over 20 novels, 530 short stories, 500 poems, 30 essays, etc. And Anne of Green Gables was published in 1908. So quite a ways back, over 100 years.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that far back.
Yeah. So she was born in Prince Edward Island, which is where most of the novels take place. And Prince Edward Island is beautiful. Okay, so her early life, though, however, was not so beautiful. Her mother, Clara, died of tuberculosis before she turned 2 years old. And her father was stricken with so much grief, he couldn't function anymore. He gave Lucy to her maternal grandparents. And eventually he moved pretty far away to, I think, Saskatchewan or something. So if you PEI in Saskatchewan, very far. So he really left in his distraughtness. So she was raised by her grandparents in the community of Cavendish, Prince Edward Island, which is a beautiful place. However, she was very lonely. She had a few relatives nearby, but she was alone. She created imaginary friends to cope with her loneliness. And she credits that time in her life as developing her creativity. So again, you may go through some things that are painful or hard, and you don't know until later why or the benefit that had to you, right? And helped shape your life. So that's, I got goosebumps on that. So even though she was very lonely, it helped shape her creativity, which she is known for. So at the age of 13, in 1887, she just had this knowledge that she would become famous. She wrote in her diary, she had early dreams of future fame. And she submitted a poem for publication writing, "I saw myself the wonder of my schoolmates, a little local celebrity." But her poem got rejected and she felt distraught. But of course, you know, she kept going and became the writer she is. She did try to spend some time with her father, he had remarried, but she didn't get along with the new woman. And she says her father's marriage was miserable. So that didn't really work out. She did try to stay there for about a year, and she ended up coming back to the east coast of Canada. And let's see, she had, this is where, I'll say it in a second. Okay. She had what she called a flash in roughly 1893. During a solitary walk through peaceful island countryside, she started to experience what she called flash, a moment of tranquility and clarity when she felt emotional ecstasy and was inspired by awareness of a higher spiritual power running through nature. So just like the other two ladies, she was very connected too. And I love that she calls it a flash, because I've had kind of that feeling before, just like, whew, that whole thing. You could just feel, you guys know as well, right? Where it's just that flash. So we got goosebumps.
Yeah.
So she said, amid the commonplaces of life, I was very near to a kingdom of ideal beauty. Between it and me hung only a thin veil. I could never quite draw it aside, but sometimes a wind fluttered and it all seemed to catch a glimpse of the enchanting realm beyond, but only a glimpse. But those glimpses all made life worthwhile. So she's talking about the veil, really, like seeing what else there is. She caught those glimpses. And even in her unhappy life, she found happiness knowing about the next time she'd get a glimpse or knowing that the other side of the veil was there. So she was a deeply spiritual woman, and she found those moments when she experienced the flash, some of the most beautiful, moving, and intense in her life. So she went to school and became a teacher. And in those early teaching years, she had many suitors as a young lady. Apparently, she was quite attractive and very fashionable. And she ended up accepting one guy's proposal. However, she was staying in a boarding house, and she had an affair with one of the boys not boy, but, guy her age, contemporary, that lived in the house. So given the time, sex before marriage was not acceptable, obviously. So she didn't go all the way with him, but they certainly fooled around. And his name was, where is it? Herman Lurd. Herman Lurd. So she fell head over heels for this guy, just like amazing. But her family told her he wasn't good enough and that she still had to marry the other guy. And so she finally broke it off with him, with this guy that she loved. And didn't he go and die a while after of influenza? And she said that just ripped her apart. So that true love that she felt. So she broke up the engagement with the other guy and decided not to see anyone for a while and did more of her writings, etc. And I feel like if she loved that deeply, I don't know, I think she's probably an empath. I don't know, I'm just getting feeling she's really into feelings and vibrations. So she went on, obviously, to write her books, etc. Eventually, she did get married because you're supposed to. Again, marriage, she says literally, marriage was a necessary choice for women in Canada. Even though she was making a bit of her own income, it was still, as we know, historically, you're supposed to get married, yada, yada. So she got married to this man. He was a religious man. I believe he was a minister, something like that. And where's his name? Ewan MacDonald, a Presbyterian minister. And they had a horrible marriage. Unfortunately, he was just not he was rude. He was depressed all the time. They had 3 boys. The second boy was stillborn. So I'm sure that added things to it. And he was so depressed, it would make her feel awful. So again, I'm wondering about that empathy thing, right? Where she was maybe connecting into it. He was saying things like he didn't think he was going to go to heaven because he wasn't good enough, and he wished he hadn't had the kids because they weren't going to be good enough to go to heaven, and she wasn't. Can you imagine all of this kind of dialogue happening in the house? He would deliberately get into car accidents because he was trying to, I believe, end his life. So this caused her tremendous stress, tremendous unhappiness. Yet she felt like she had to stay with him because that's what you were supposed to do and try to make it work. So he eventually even went into a sanatorium for a while to try to help himself, but to no good end. So she herself started to have issues with depression because of his depression. It was just tearing away at her. And maybe there was some stuff from the past, obviously, with her mother passing and that young man she fell in love with. And she got really stressed about the war, World War II in particular. She just felt she was unraveling, and the Spanish flu also was causing her great stress. Like all these, just listening to all that kind of stuff, it was too much. The flu had taken away her best friend, and in 1919, so I think she had a lot of burdens on her emotionally, even though she was writing all of this wonderful stuff. She said that she was giving the illusion that my life was wonderful on the outside, but inside it wasn't. So I'm sad to hear. I didn't know she was so sad. I feel really bad. I was hoping she would have a wonderful life, but it wasn't quite that way for her.
That I think you nailed it on the empath. That's what I'm tapping into that very strongly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Me too, Debbie. Yeah, absolutely.
Towards the end of her life, she wrote, "My love for Herman Leard," which was the young man she had, though was so incomplete, is a memory which I would not barter for anything, other than the lives of my children and my best friend who she lost. So, I mean, she carried that for a long time.
All right, Lucy.
So she said she believes her spells of depression and migraines she suffered were both expressions of her suppressed romantic passions for him and his ghost haunting her. So she really, really on. So as we know, she went on, she wrote a ton of books. She's got tons of awards. She was, given many great honors in schools, and, where she lived are historic sites in Canada. And then it's really strange. She died in 1942, and she was found dead in her bed in Toronto. At that time, she was living in Toronto. The primary cause was, on her death certificate, said coronary thrombosis. However, in September 2008, her granddaughter revealed that Lucy suffered from depression, possibly as a result for caring for her mentally ill husband for decades, and may have ended her life through a drug overdose. There was a note found on her bedside that said, "I've lost my mind by spells. I do not dare think what I may do in those spells. May God forgive me, and I hope everyone else will forgive me, even if they cannot understand. My position is too awful to endure, and nobody realizes it. At an end to a life in which I tried always to do my best." Or what an end to a life which I tried always to do my best. I had no idea. So that could be disputed, that maybe she did or did not. We can ask her if we want, but those books she wrote gave so much pleasure, right? And here she is suffering. It's such a juxtaposition, right? That this wonderful gift she gave the world through prose, and she had suffered. But I think empath, I think a strong empath, and didn't know how to manage it, which a lot
Yes.
don't, right?
That's what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. And she does. I mean, she's showing me that she's taking responsibility. So for her passing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I get the same thing, Debbie, but she
Yeah.
wants people to know, and I think that it's because she wants to let people know that although she, it's like she literally couldn't take another day of this, but she's saying that when she passed, she was welcomed with love and open arms, even though this is the way she passed. And I think she just wants people to know that, so that they know when people pass of suicide, they really are embraced with so much love and compassion. And she's saying she needed that. That's what she needed. It's what she was missing. That just love and acceptance and compassion and understanding, and it's exactly what she needed, and she got that when she passed. So yeah.
And she was 67 at the time, so but she did have, I think she probably had maybe some health issues, but I think she had it was, as NH Mountain Dancer says, it was her exit point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's another point as well, as when you're an empath, and I only learned this recently of trying to manage it as better than I have in the past, right? You gotta,
right.
Well, and taking care of someone who was
clearly
mentally ill,
Yeah.
and so so being so close to that day in and day out, and not knowing to set boundaries or put up your have protection around you and all those things that you do when you're an empath, and taking all of that on, and it's amazing. Yeah, it's I don't know how she did it, and then to have this amazing career with such a beautiful imagination, because these books are beautiful. It's the reason I still go on Zillow and look for houses in Prince Edward Island, knowing I'll probably never live there. But I love the beauty of these stories, the simplicity, and just and she's saying too that she loved the idea of transformation, that love could transform people. And that it was something she hoped for herself. Like she knew, she felt like that could make me a different person. But in those stories, she's saying she loved the idea of love being able to transform people and make them into better people.
And just on that, if anyone watching is feeling sad about your life, please talk to someone and get help.
Yes.
She probably didn't have that opportunity back then, but please do make sure you reach out. And at least she felt, I'm so glad that she had that true love in her life, even if it was for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
But also in that moment, I want to say, when everyone else is telling you not to love someone because of their status or something, I mean, no, right? She knew in her heart that was the guy.
Right.
Yeah. And her flash, her psychic flash, I love that. And it's when she was in nature, she would have that moment of just knowing, I got goosebumps.
Right.
This flash where she knew more than what was happening in our like what we call reality, where she knew there was more.
Right.
The other side of the veil. That's exciting. That's the person I want to talk to.
Yeah. And
yes.
she's showing me literally closing her eyes and seeing scenes being played out. Like she was very, very connected, and I really do believe that a lot of her downloads did come from this in-between space that she often was in. I think you said that she was alone a lot as a child.
Yeah.
And she was absolutely in that in-between and tapping in already as a young person. She might not have known it. You have different words for it: imagination, imaginary friends, this and that. But she was there. And that experience that she was able to describe later was an literal awake experience where you were literally being able to touch the other side.
Yeah, she's within what we would call psychic today, right? Where she could receive information or sense things. I got that with the pendulum, that she's psychic as well as we all know she's an empath.
She's very clairvoyant.
Yeah.
And I feel like she got a lot of dreams. I feel like she had a lot of visitation dreams, visiting people, visiting her in her dreams. And I feel like if you know that's what it is, it can be so uplifting. But I felt like it was depressing to her. It would, because she'd want them to stay or be with her. She knew they were there somehow, but then they would be gone, and she wouldn't know how to kind of get, link in and get there. So I feel like even though these dreams were meant to kind of comfort her, let her know people are there, it kind of did the opposite. It kind of depressed her and made her more lonely. More like when she'd wake up, she'd be more sad that she couldn't have these people with her. But they were visitation dreams, and yeah. But it's so strange because I feel like she was so in touch and yet didn't have the understanding of what was happening, and so not in touch. So there was this constant push and pull.
She is showing me, ink all over her hands, but writing and not being present at all. Like it was almost like she'd almost go into a trance almost, and then come to, and she'd be like, oh, I wrote, but it's almost to that extreme, but literally going into that kind of in-between state where you're not present, you're fully in, you're living out the story like you're there or whatever. So when she wrote, she would go into that state, she's saying.
So I just asked, why did you come in so aggressively, like to me when I heard her name the other morning, right? Like, why did you? What story did you want us to hear about? Was it your sadness or whatever? She said, no, I want them to know there's something on the other side. She wants everyone to know because it's not, I mean, not everyone knows what to think or believe in. She wants everyone to know, like, hey, there's something on the other side. Wake up.
Yeah. Oh, wake up. How interesting.
Try to find it, like tap in.
And
you're in the dream. The reality's here. Yeah.
And that it's everything's connected. It's all connected. And I feel like that's she maybe didn't know how at the time to articulate those flashes she would get, but it's that knowledge that everything is connected. And I think that's why it would happen in nature for her, because it's that nature is such a perfect example of connection and how everything is connected. But I think that those flashes were about not only the connection here on earth with all of us, but the connection to the other side as well.
So make your connection. I got my hair tingling.
Yeah.
Find whatever it is. If you walk through nature, whatever it is, if it's meditation, if it's holding crystals, get connected.
However you connect. Yeah.
Andrea, is that house really there?
Yep.
Wow. If people
Yeah,
go.
that's it now, because that house is her birth, her
It's a
house, where she was
historic
born.
site.
And yeah, it's a historic. Yeah.
And people go visit that, huh?
Yep.
That's cool.
Well, thank you, Lucy. We hear you. We will get connected. We will
Wow.
get
Thank
connected.
you, Lucy. And um, I don't see that she has come back.
No.
I could be wrong, but I don't see that it's more of a
Sorry about that. I left that up there.
she,
Montgomery.
restoration.
Yeah. So all three of our ladies, psychic.
Mm-hmm. And using it in completely different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Using it and having it and so, and with Lucy, it's kind of like she was fully connected, but it didn't quite understand, what was going on, and so it was a blessing and a curse for her. It was kind of both. But Hilma of Klint was kind of like, she was all in. Yeah. And Jennifer were the same thing. I mean, just that a very kind of almost that traditional life of service, that very connected religiously and that kind of thing. So on kind of different levels, but yet still, they had amazing ways to use it. Yeah.
Love
Absolutely.
it.
Amazing.
Well, now next week I will be on an airplane, so we're gonna have to skip a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be going to see Cassie, so I'm gonna go see Cassie next week.
Nice.
In a jolly old England. So where are we the week after? Whose channel?
I think we'll be on my channel in 2 weeks. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Yes. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank
you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Get connected.
Get connected.
Yes, and get connected. Exactly. All right. Bye, everybody.